Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic week. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me for a little bit, spending part of your Wednesday evening with me. Welcome to Trades Lady Happy Hour, your weekly series where each week I get to sit down. I have the huge privilege of getting to sit down with another incredible woman in the trades and getting to introduce her to you guys, so you get to hear all about her story, her journey, trials, tribulations, wins, successes, words of inspiration, all of the rest. We've been doing this for going on 2 years now. Hopefully you're gonna be graduating off of Instagram very soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I am at the shop at the moment. I'm gonna be getting back to work after this on the Iron Maven. The all-female build is in mega crunch mode. So I've been here working around the clock, but of course got to take time out to do Trades Lady Happy Hour. It is always the highlight of my week, and this week is no different. I've got a really awesome guest this week. I'm very excited to introduce you guys to. First, want to do a big thank you to my sponsor, Drive Time, for being a partner in this podcast series, whatever this is. I guess it's not really a podcast, but it will be soon. Just you wait, it will be. But they've been a huge supporter of women in the trades. They actually brought a bunch of their ladies out to work on the Iron Maven. So huge supporters of women in the trades, great partner to have, so we want to thank them. And without further ado, I want to invite our guest to join us, Sylvie, who you will meet shortly. She is a mechanical engineer. She is not currently working in the automotive space, but don't let that dissuade you. She has been in the automotive space. She's worked for a tier 1 automotive supplier, so she's done some pretty cool stuff. She's got some really cool stories in working for automotive manufacturers, manufacturing. She's also a car girl through and through, and you'll have to stay tuned to find out about her lifted Prius. Why on earth anybody would lift a Prius is beyond me, but at the same time, why anybody would do any of the crazy stuff I do is beyond most people, so I guess fair is fair. It's all about, whatever you can dream up, whatever you can think up, you can make it happen if you're willing to put the time and the energy into it. I just saw a question show up asking if we're going to be at SEMA this year. Damn straight we're going to be at SEMA this year. We got a vehicle going to SEMA this year. We're going to be in the BASF booth with the Iron Maven, which is sitting right outside, but it's painted, so I can't show you because the color is a secret. You'll have to stay tuned to find out what that is when we unveil it at SEMA. So yes, we will be there. If you're at SEMA, guys, please, if you're there, come and find us. We are going to be in the BASF booth Tuesday, late morning, probably will be the unveil, and obviously the vehicle will be there the whole time. So with that, I am going to see if Sylvie has joined the room.
Hi!
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am upright and breathing.
Just keeping it moving. At this point, it's a freight train and you're on the ride.
Pitcher after pitcher of iced tea, and I'm sleeping on this very couch here at the shop. Sometimes, once in a while.
I can attest to it's not too bad on the comfort scale. So
it's
quite nappable. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You look fantastic. You look well rested.
Oh, thank you. You look good. Yeah. It's been chaotic on this end, but for different reasons. I think I'm turning my house into a used car lot. So we're just doing
okay. That sounds interesting. I want to hear about that.
No, I have a very patient husband who lets me keep buying cars and motorcycles and everything under the sun. So
are you planning on selling them again? Is this like a resale operation, or you just keep acquiring more cars?
Oh, they come and go.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the moment it's more like, so kind of, you've mentioned it, but the lifted Prius.
Yeah.
It's the car that won't die. I've tried multiple ways. It just won't die. But yeah, I've fully sent it, and so I was expecting it to be dead by now, and it's not. And so I was supposed to have 4 cars, but instead I have 5. But because four felt manageable, 5 feels like a lot. I don't know.
What's this supposed to? Whatever. That's how
I
you know
mean,
you're a true car person, when you have more cars than you can count, and most of them don't run.
no, every single one runs.
Oh, so it's just me.
That's a part for me.
It's
No,
it's
so
just
I I've had cars that don't run, or I've had cars that sit in garages, and I can't do that. It's one of those things where if I'm gonna own it and title it and insure it,
yeah.
it's gonna be on the road.
Oh, see,
Because
I
if
just
it's
don't
not,
bother
it's
insuring it.
just
I just
oh, I mean, yeah. That could happen. The only issue is we're out here in tourist land, so
yes.
every time that you think you're safe, someone does something stupid. So I'd rather insure them.
Well, none of mine drive, so I don't have to insure them. It's great.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
I have two cars that run.
Yeah, and in Phoenix, you're not exactly at high risk of flood or
That is true.
hurricane.
That is true.
Or,
We are
yeah.
lucky in that arena. But anyway,
Yeah.
we digress. So,
Yeah.
welcome to Trades Lady Happy Hour. Everybody, meet Sylvie. Sylvie, why don't you tell everybody in a quick nutshell who you are, where you're from, what you do, and then we'll dig into the good stuff.
Cool. All right. So by training, I'm a mechanical engineer. By lifestyle, I'm everything in between. I'm from Canada, and then I moved to America. What year is it? 10 years ago. So I've been down here for quite a while, and I love the American culture, and I love what it has to offer. And it's been kind of a great place for me to be. And I'm just kind of someone that's always been like an innate nerd. Anything I can learn lots about, I just jump into. So like recently it's been photography. I've just kind of picked up a camera, and I'm teaching myself how to use it and different things, but it doesn't matter what it is. I love the learning steps. I'm a constant nerd for anything that I can get my hands on. And in the current world, I'm an engineer for a medical device company where I'm helping create production lines and designing process flows and working with vendors and all sorts of stuff, and then getting to build some gizmos in my spare time too. So it's a good blend.
You're one of those smart people that makes me feel really stupid.
I disagree, because I've been.
We need
in
to
your
tell
shop
everybody the story. We need to.
Which story? I'm in trouble.
When you so backstory for everybody who's watching this. Sylvie came out to work on the build, and we were mid re-engineering, and I use the word engineering very loosely because it was before she got there. She's the engineer. I am not. And we're figuring out the front suspension and trying to make it all work. And she's looking at it, and she's like, well, do you have the hypotenuse of the perpendicular, rectangular, ginormous thing? And I'm like, I don't know what any of those words are. I just go, I think it fits.
Okay, yes, now I know what we're talking about. Yeah.
And
It's
this
a
poor
sloped
woman
ground.
just stops dead in her tracks, just stares at me like, how have you survived? Like, what?
Well, there was more of a safety concern at that point. You're going to have a car that drives really well in circles. You didn't know it, but it's a NASCAR car. Yeah.
It looks great.
Good.
It looks straight.
I'm so excited to see it.
You're going to be at SEMA, yeah?
Heck yeah. I
Very
just booked my hotel today. I was definitely really on top of that one. Didn't wait till last minute.
Totally. Okay. It's all good. It's not too late, y'all. Anybody watching, you still want to go to SEMA. Like, it's not too late. You can still get passes. You can still get hotels. See, Sylvie got a hotel. Everything.
Yeah, there's tons of hotels. And then actually through the SEMA website, they offer some really good pricing on hotels, which is nice.
Yes, they do. Good plug for SEMA there. Done. So I want to go back in time. I want to talk about like how engineering, mechanical engineering specifically, school was for you, how you wound up in that specific path. Like, we've had a couple of engineer types on the show before. It's a little bit of an interesting crossover and intersection with the automotive and the trades side, because it's trades, but it's not trades, but there's so much similarity with STEM and with women in engineering. Like, how did you wind up where you're at, and what was that experience like for you?
It's challenging for anyone. Engineering school is not for the faint of heart. I will say that first and foremost. But for me, it started a little bit earlier than the average nerd. I was about 6, I think, when I told my parents I'm gonna be an engineer. This is what I want in life.
I didn't know the word
So,
when I was 6. Seriously?
well, yeah. So I had like it was very clear from early on that I had a lot of that like puzzle solving knowledge.
Okay.
They had a weird cup that would break into puzzle pieces, and I'd be in my high chair and I'd disassemble and reassemble it just for fun. And they were like kind of freaked out by this weird kid
Oh,
that
wow.
just got
Yeah.
puzzles.
Huh.
So it engineering just it made the most sense. I still have a bunch of my Hot Wheels. I've always been enamored with cars. My dad and I used to play a game where if we were driving at night, we'd try to guess the headlights or the taillights and see if we could know what the car was as we got closer. And so he helped kind of feed that
Nice.
love.
Nice.
And so yeah, I was really early on. I was like, yeah, I love cars. Let's figure out what's a good path to get me into into cars and solving puzzles and putting things together. And then I thankfully I'm good at calculus.
Yeah, that's where I like totally would have not made the cut.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm using a bunch of my textbooks to hold up my phone right now. So I've got like
Nice.
the fundamental of engineering design and quality control right behind your face.
Nice. That's awesome. I love it.
But no, so it yeah, it was early on and I knew what I wanted and I'm very stubborn. So at that point fate had no choice. I was gonna take the reins. So
I love it. So
um,
you loved cars. You fell in love with cars, and you were good at puzzles, and you knew you wanted to do something along those lines. Did you know like engineering specifically, or were you like trying to figure out like what that way of being involved in cars was? Like, did you ever consider other ways, like being a mechanic, or was that not
yes.
okay?
Yes. I have firmly stood by the fact that if I didn't have the opportunity, so I played volleyball, if I didn't have the opportunity to have an education paid for, that's the route I would have gone for if I was to go into the trades was to be a mechanic and to go down that route. Because, I mean, it's what I do in my spare time anyways. I get home from messing around with conveyors and building machines, and then I come home and I soothe my frustration by working on other things. And I think one of the best things is no matter what you're working on, if you're working through a problem and if you know what you're going towards, you can let the world kind of just evaporate and you just get to be in there. And that's kind of what it's like when you get to come down to the Girl Gang Garage Shop and you just lose track of time. You go, oh shoot, I was supposed to eat 4 hours ago. Like
That never happens. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, of course not. But yeah, letting your troubles melt away and just immersing yourself in whatever challenge you face. And so I think that translates across everything. And I just happen to find that, you know, wrenching on things, I actually go to sleep to Motor Trend most nights. My poor husband, again, this man is very patient, but I'll put on different shows that just kind of, the sound of ratchet wrenches puts me to sleep. So
You
it
might be
was,
more of a true car girl than I am. Shit.
no, I don't think so. I think there's
That's
so many
amazing.
different paths.
Going to bed, the sound of wrenches and ratcheting. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know this is like, as I'm thinking I sound like an a-hole asking it because I know men ask women this all the time, but I don't mean it in this way. Like, you talk about your husband putting up with all of your stuff. Is he into cars?
No. So he's very patient. I've taught him how to do a suspension job. So we've done full coilovers and he's learned how to do that hands-on. He knows most of how to do a brake job and he, for the most part, changes his own oil now. I don't have to do that one for him.
Aw, good
So
boy.
he does that. But when I tell you this man knows his way around the kitchen, like his favorite show is Beat Bobby Flay. So we like we balance it out that way and
I love it.
we share interests at the same time, but we each have like what's like our space, and so for me it's the garage and for him it's the kitchen, and
I love it.
we get to invade each other's bubbles but we don't interfere. But my favorite thing is he just got a new sticker for his water bottle at work that says be the engineer your parents wanted you to marry.
That's cute.
Yeah, so
So he's an engineer as well?
He is, yeah. We actually studied together in our undergrads, and then
right, I did know that.
just kind of carried on together.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
So did he work in the automotive sector with you as well, even though he wasn't a car guy?
Yeah. We
Okay.
actually, together, the two of us launched the interior for the Jeep Cherokee. So that was actually, we started getting called just Sylvie Joe. They merged our names together
I love it.
because I would do special processes. So vacuum forming, paint, all the like foil trim, anything like that. That's kind of the weird stuff. And then he would do final assembly. So he was actually my customer the whole way through, where if he had a problem, he's coming back to me to figure it out and to get through, you know, warp issues, or if we're dealing with strange scuffing or transport. And so yeah, he and I used to spend a ton of time together working, and then we'd get a chance to also spend time together at home. But yeah, it was a little different, but we liked it. We were apparently
Yeah,
unusual for liking to spend that much time together, but
I dig it. I think
yeah.
it's awesome. You guys sound like you have a fantastic relationship. Oh, I'm so curious about this Jeep thing. I want to hear all about it, and I'm sure
Okay.
lots of folks watching do as well. Like, you know, we don't often get to talk to the people who design the things that we work on or that we drive in, and they make that happen. Like, what does that process look like? Launching the interior of the Jeep Cherokee. Like, how long of a process was it? How many years did you work on this? Months? Was it like? What does that look like?
So a typical, like, once so it kind of works like a contract. So once the OEMs send out for quotes, they'll receive a bunch of quotes back and they go, okay, you're, you know, best pricing and best quality and whatever they want, or you're most convenient. Sometimes that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
So after you win the business, it's usually about 2 to 4 years, depending on how accelerated it is, where each part is produced. It can be either white box or black box, talking about either we have transparency and we understand what we're working on, and we have input on the CAD models and the shape, or we have situations where the OEMs go, this is the part and you have to deal with it, and this is how we want it to look. And you kind of have to balance that out. So yeah, you get through an initial kind of feedback period where you're going, hey, did you notice that this is a pointy spear and you want to wrap it in foam? Like, pointy spear pokes. So you'll go through kind of a like feedback, and then you start your development where you're allocating space, you're building entire lines that are putting out. So I helped with a paint line, and it put out, oh, how many? It was like 10,000 items a day or something. I can't remember exactly how many it was, but 10,000 parts a day off this one paint line. And so it would just be on a conveyor, and it had robotic controls and all the rest of it. And so it was just amazing that way. But yeah, so you'll go through your tooling, your equipment, and the equipment comes from all over the world. We had injection molding tools from China, from Germany, all over. And whatever worked best for us is how we would bring it in. And one of the like really cool things is everyone is involved, everyone is invested. And
How big of a team are we talking? Like, this is the company that you worked for. I'm assuming this isn't just you
yeah,
and your husband. This isn't just
no,
the Sylvie and Joe show, but
no.
but you had a large team. How many people are involved in a project like launching the interior of the Jeep Cherokee?
The Jeep Cherokee, there were one, two, three, four, about 12 engineers
Okay.
in our facility, and
Okay.
we were just the manufacturing of the interiors. So you
Okay.
have an entire branch up in the OEMs, and then they have a different group that handles suspension, that's handling body panels, handling their paint systems, handling all that. And so when it comes down to it, a single car could have like thousands if you add up all the people that are involved in it from the ground up.
So you were handling your team of 12-ish that you were
Mm-hmm.
working with was handling the production of the interior, like how to make it. So somebody else
Yeah,
had designed it and engineered it,
yeah.
hopefully.
We hope, yeah.
Aside from putting the pokey thing through the
Maybe it
round
was
salt.
AI. We don't know. But no, yeah, those are typically engineers working for the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, that are
Okay.
doing that. Yeah.
Gotcha. So
Mhm.
they're figuring it out. They're doing the engineering, they're doing all of the design of it, and then they're bidding out to teams like yours to say, like, how do we make this and how do we produce this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes they have more of a design than others. So yeah, with the Jeep, that's, a really sound company. They've been around for ages. They know what they want. They can come in and go, this is what we're looking for, and we can give really accurate quotes that way.
Yeah.
On other hands, like I helped out with Teslas, and they were like, we really want, so those funny doors that they have on the floor console?
Yes, I think so.
Yes. So those use magnets.
Okay.
And those were designed in-house by the company I worked for, where a group of really smart engineers came together and figured out a gear mechanism with magnets that would hold it and detent it so that it would actually close. And um, but yeah, Tesla came in that case and said, this is what we want. Can you help create a mechanism that can allow for this and be manufactured for high volume? So it's different styles.
Yeah. Do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like do you feel a difference between yourself and maybe some of the other engineers you work with because you do so much hands-on working on cars?
Yeah. What you mean when I have to remove subframes to change the oil filter on my 2002 Escort? You think that's a problem?
Are you serious?
Yeah, you have to, so there's a cross member, and in order to get to the oil filter, at least being larger than the average bear, um, you have to remove a cross bear, a cross, a cross beam, remove a cross beam, and then that you have to like snake your hand up to actually get the oil filter out. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I'd say there are varying levels of um, understanding and just desire to be in that world. And so you'll have some engineers that come in and go, I love cars. I love working on cars. I race them on my weekend. I do this sort of stuff. You had my friend Reagan on, like, phenomenal human being.
Yeah.
And you have someone like that that just gets it.
Right.
You're going to have some, like, a little bit more chance for that to actually be a really stout vehicle in some ways, rather than I have other friends that they don't, I'd say they consider vehicles more like an appliance,
Right.
where they love that they can be beautiful, they love that they can be optimized, but they're not looking to go to track days, they're not looking to modify components, where they just want to make sure that they're making something that works well,
Right.
and then they kind of have others with more experience in like a more mechanical realm helping kind of push that side.
Okay. Like, are there
Yeah.
generally, and this may be, tell me if I'm going down a rabbit hole, but like, I feel like I can ask you these kinds of questions. Like, are there generally within manufacturers, like, systems and processes that are set up to kind of put things through the paces of like, okay, we've designed this thing, we've engineered this thing, like now, like, can a human hand get in there to get that bolt out? Or, or is that just like
um,
not even considered?
I think that's where Chilton makes their money, right? No? Am I crazy? No.
Yes. And
There
where people with small hands make their money, right? Because we can get into places that other people can't. But
there are in some cases. So if it's something that's designed as a wear item, so things like brakes, clutches, etc., those are never going to be designed where it's challenging to remove or challenging to work on or things like that. I mean, sometimes, like, is it the Tacoma where the oil drains straight onto the frame or something?
yeah, there's a few cars that do
Yeah,
that. Yeah, there's quite a few.
I don't get that. Anyways,
No, me
um, but other components, so, parts of your door panel are not meant to be separated. And so they will be riveted together. They'll be assembled in such a way that um, they don't readily welcome you pulling them apart. And that's where a lot of, you'll see like a metal screw into a plastic housing, and you're going, the
Why?
threads are going to strip. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
But what you're not seeing is there's an assembly line where they have a series of drills that are set to a very precise torque spec, and there's zero chance of that that specific fastener being stripped, because they're never going to torque it down further than that the plastic can withstand.
So it comes down to how to manufacture it in a way that makes sense and not always the what if we have to service this item.
In some cases. In other ones, they absolutely are cognizant of the fact that you're going to have to work on something, and they want to make sure.
So if it's really challenging to service, it means they didn't expect for it to fail. That's a broad generalization.
You know what? No, yeah, I can't speak to that one just because I don't know enough on that side. But I mean, the fact that some engine work on a Porsche requires removing the entire engine is kind of
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, job security for us technicians, though. So thank you.
There you go. Oh, that's not on me. You can thank the Germans for that one. That was, yeah.
I know, like, mechanics are always like cursing engineers, right? And like, why they engineer it this way. Like, I gotta say, like, we should be thanking you guys for making things challenging to work on, because then it gives us legitimacy in our jobs and makes people come to us to do the work for them. So thank you.
I mean, I keep a 20-inch extension in my own garage too, you know?
There you go.
But yeah, I think it's a challenge because it has to be a balance of, we need to be able to manufacture this in the best way possible,
right,
and still be considerate of the fact that this vehicle has to sustain after it leaves the floor.
Yeah.
And so it's often a balance, but I mean, I was also like 21 and just thrown into it and, you know, figuring it out. So sometimes you also have to remember there are kids trying their best.
Right. Yeah. So this was not long after you graduated from engineering school, right?
Oh yeah, I was fresh. Yeah.
Okay. So how long is mechanical engineering school?
It depends. So I was probably on one of the faster ends of completing my degree in 4 years.
Okay.
I know engineers that take up to 8 years. A lot of kids take co-ops or internships that extend the length of their programs so that they can get better work experience, and they can sometimes be able to pay for their school using internships and different things, so that they're actually able to offset a lot of those costs.
Interesting.
No, I think it's fantastic. We have an internship program at my current work, and the work that those kids produce and their eagerness to learn, and then they're also like making decent income so they can go back and have some cash. I think it's a fantastic program to kind of help those kids that, you know, that just get through school.
Right, or may not have been able to get to school otherwise. Yeah, because this is all post. So you do undergrad and then you do mechanical engineering school separate. It's another 4 years or is that all part of?
No, so I have a BS or a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, and then I have a Master's in Mechanical Engineering. So those are two separate degrees.
Okay, got it.
I was like, I'm not done being a nerd. I want to be more of one.
I love it.
Where typically in engineering, your undergraduate degree is going to be a little bit more generic. You're going to spend time on classes you're not going to enjoy as much. But usually the way that, especially with engineering schools, they're designed so that you have all these different factors and then they come together at the end.
Okay.
And you have usually some sort of light bulb moment. I always ask engineers, like, what was your aha moment?
Okay, what was yours?
Are
we going to understand it?
I think so.
Okay, what was your aha moment?
Yeah, so we had a class called Product Realization.
Okay.
And I had Dr. Tawari, still one of my favorites. But what happened was, this was a course where we took an understanding of spring strength. We took an understanding of the load that you can put on a screw, all that sort of stuff, where you're working through your statics, your dynamics, your kinematics, your thermodynamics, and you're bringing it into real world products and analyzing. So like we did spring load analysis on a basketball hoop.
Okay.
You know, something that's, I think you lost your light.
I did. It's a motion sensor light, and I don't want to interrupt your story, so keep going.
No, you're good. But it was the idea of finally taking all these theoretical parts and it brought it back to the real world, where it helped make so much more sense of things, seeing it like when you're, you know, on your bike and thinking about the teeth on your gear on your bike, and how the load on there has the teeth have to be strong enough to handle the load of the torque that you're putting on a pedal or whatever it may be. And so it's, yeah, that was a big aha moment for me, is when it kind of was the first step of coming
Yeah.
together.
That's cool. I love
Yeah.
those light bulb moments. I definitely, like, yours is beyond me. You were saying words that I don't understand, but
Oh,
it
I'm
is still
sorry.
that, like, no, you're totally fine. It's just I'm not in that world, right? And that's awesome. But I do agree with you on those, like, light bulb moments when you see somebody get it, or when, like, I've seen it in myself when I get to take something apart and I'm like, oh, that's how that works. Got
Yeah. Like
it.
thermostats. What a
Yeah.
weird part of a car.
There's a lot of weird parts of
I
cars.
know, but it's such a simple concept and it works great and we've been using them forever.
Well, they used to be simple. Now we've gone and made them complicated, and they're like electronically controlled thermostats. But that's a whole other story.
Oh, I have all dumb cars. None of my cars have
Okay.
that
Okay. Well, you
technology.
don't
Yeah.
have all dumb cars. You have a Prius. A Prius is not a dumb car. It may have a dumb thermostat, but it's not a dumb car.
Oh,
So we need to
I
talk.
haven't messed with that one.
Yeah, I don't know if the Prius has any electronics in their thermostat. Actually, I can't think off the top of my head if it does. I will
It's
have to
old
look it
enough,
up.
I don't think it does.
Okay, we
Yeah.
need to talk about your cars. Like, I know we've got
Okay.
this path. I have so many questions, and we're going to go through our hour so quickly, but there's so much. We want to talk about the Prius, and then I want to talk to you about, like, the different worlds of engineering versus mechanical, and what kind of differences and experiences you've had in both of them. So there's a lot I want to talk about. So let's talk Prius first, though.
Right.
Why do you have a lifted Prius?
Because why not? Honestly,
This is what
when I decided to jump down this rabbit hole, the big thing was, what is something that will make people laugh and then go, oh, it's actually doing it? And it's a Prius. I personally am not a particularly big fan of the Prius. I think it's unimaginative. But on the other side, as an engineer, I have full respect for what it offers.
Okay.
So they have put so much work into optimizing it and designing it and making it so amazing that it's a fantastic vehicle. But on the other side, it's so boring. And so you have to do something to it. And so that's where oversized tires, and if you guys haven't looked it up, there's something called Prius Off-Road. They're an entire company. They make spacers.
This is a thing. You're
I'm
not the only one?
No, I have friends that have lifted Priuses, Prii as well.
Are there, like, lifted Prii clubs?
Oh God, I wish. I need to find out if there is.
I feel like there should be. I think you need to start.
I think I'm the only one with blue flames though. But
A lifted Prius with blue flames. Okay.
Needless to say, my friends always know where I am in town.
So you drive this, like, regularly, like a daily driver?
All my cars are daily drivers. I take a different car every day to work. But no, yeah, it's fully capable. It was down to 3 cylinders for a little while, and I gave it the Seafoam Special, and it's back up to 4 cylinders. I think I might be crazy, but it's running. It won't die. I've jumped it. It doesn't die.
You jumped it?
Yeah. I participate in something called Hoopty Cross, which is part of, so Gambler 500 does, like, off-road trail cleanups, which is amazing, by the way. And then they kind of deviated and created something called Hoopty Cross, which is affordable rally cross, pretty much.
Okay.
And I take the Prius, and I'm not the only Prius there. And we just have a great time sending a Prius sideways through a corner.
This is amazing. I love this. When this build is over, I need to come and visit and, like, check out some of this stuff, because that sounds like so much fun. And I had no idea any of it exists. That's amazing.
Please do. Yeah. It's a totally different world, and I'm so grateful at how welcoming that entire community has been too.
Did you have to do a lot of custom stuff on the Prius to lift it, or was this, you just bought the kit and installed it?
Oh, well, so from the factory, it has a coilover style suspension. So I just did a refresh on that pretty much, and then jacked it up a couple inches and threw on some spacers so that it wasn't quite as wavering in the wind. And I think the spacers, I got fully installed all 4 corners in 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it didn't take long at all.
Does it mess with the hybrid system, like the regenerative brakes at all? Does having it lifted do anything weird to it?
Probably. I don't know.
I appreciate
Not
your
really though.
honesty.
So I
Okay, so
like,
even though you're an engineer, you do some of the like, I think it works.
well, yeah. So I've got like a roof rack and all that on it too.
Okay.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah.
But it still gets 36 miles per gallon.
Nice.
So I haven't messed with it too much.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Side note, pneumatic mechanic, another awesome female tech to our, oops, what just happened? Responded to our query around the thermostats. Some of the newer ones are electronic, but the older ones are mechanical.
Perfect. Mine's mechanical then because it's a 2004.
So there you go. There you go. We're learning from the group community here.
All right. So Gen 2, you're safe, everybody. If you got your Prius, lift it, send it. That's all I can say. They will survive. I have learned the hard way.
Lift your Prius. Yes. Okay. I love it. I love it. How do people react when they see it?
My favorite response is, ha, Prius.
That's awesome.
But I get all sorts of responses. I think the best way to put it is I have no mechanical sympathy for the car. So I'm willing to jump it. I'm willing to do dumb stuff with it. And I'm willing to let other people drive it too if they want to experience what a lifted Prius feels like, having clearance that actually, like, a stock Prius high centers on an apple. So you just need to do something so that it can be functional. And
Yes.
it's actually turned into like my husband's hunting rig. I created a platform and it can sleep. I am 6'1". I know it's hard to tell on Instagram, but I'm 6 foot. I'm a big lady. I can sleep fully extended in that car and have slept fully extended in that car, no problems.
Wow.
Like, it's a remarkably capable vehicle.
So the Prius, who knew? It can be a great off-road vehicle. You can jump it and it can sleep a 6 foot. That is phenomenal. Any other fun, crazy hybrid, not hybrid necessarily, but like weird projects that you have plotted or others that you have already that you've done?
I don't know. So I have a life goal to go to Rocky Mountain Drag Week,
Okay.
and I accidentally think I stumbled into the perfect contender.
Okay.
I have a Dodge Magnum with the Hemi because you must.
Right, of course.
And it's, first off, ultimate sleeper vehicle.
Okay.
Everyone thinks you're in this mom wagon and then you're going 100 miles an hour
Right.
without even batting an eye.
Yes.
But I think with the sheer amount of trunk space, you could keep an entire race setup in the vehicle, swap at the track, and it could be a real contender for a Rocky Mountain Drag Week kind of.
Interesting. They do have a lot of room back there. I have stories about that. We won't talk about that.
I mean, the tires I have on the Magnum right now, I fit all four in the back,
Nice.
no problems.
Nice.
So that's probably
Okay.
another one. And then, I mean, I have a Wrangler. That everyone has a Wrangler. You throw parts at it, they all fit. It's fine.
Awesome. Okay, so you've been in a couple of different worlds. You've lived and worked in, I'm not talking geographically, although that too, but you've been in the engineering side of things. You've been in automotive engineering. Then you've also played in off-road and rally stuff and building cars and being in and out of parts stores and dealing with all of that. And you're in that situation with your relationship, right, where it's like you didn't get this from your husband. Like everybody assumes every woman who's into cars must have gotten into cars because her boyfriend, husband, father, whatever, was who introduced them, right? So that's not you. You didn't get this from your husband. This is all you, natural. Have you encountered different like reactions from the different communities, whether it's the engineering side, the off-road side, the general repair mechanical stuff?
When I go into my local O'Reilly's, it's, hey, best friend.
They know you.
Are So warm, so welcoming. And then my local Napa is run by a woman.
Nice.
So she's cool. But I've not had issues in most repair situations where I'm looking for parts or anything. I find that community is actually been pretty good.
Nice.
I think one of the issues or one of the areas I have the most qualms with is actually in car shows. So
Okay.
I
Talk
used
about that.
to, yeah, I used to have like a Scat Pack charger and stuff, and people automatically go to my husband, oh, that's so nice, like, what's on it? And they're going, and he's like, I don't know, I hear there's corn dogs, like, do you want to go? He doesn't care. And so, and it usually ends up just being, ask my wife, she knows. But that's probably one of the areas that's been the least open to women that I've found. And if that's the biggest issue I'm facing on that front, I think that's pretty cool. With engineering, it seems like every day it's getting more and more balanced. And we're seeing some really incredible women do some really amazing things. I think there's more that we can do. I don't think we're at the end goal at all. But personally, I usually, if there's going to be doubt, it lasts for about 5 minutes. And then we go and do something. And it usually doesn't last much longer than that, because they go, oh, yeah, never mind. And we get on. And there's usually no issues after that point. But I have seen it with other women, and I can't say that it doesn't exist, that people go, oh, let me help you with that little lady. And I'm like, I'm 6 feet tall, leave me alone. Like, I'm not
Who
a
you
little
calling
lady.
little?
Yeah. Sir, you are 5'3". But no, it does exist. And I think that's just part of something that we'll continue to find the balance of, women can get stuff done, and they don't always need to be babysat through it. We can handle a lot more than people think. We're a resilient bunch.
Indeed. So you saying you've seen it with other women, you've seen people experience it, you haven't really yourself. Do you attribute some of that? You joked about your height, but do you think that plays into it, or are there other things that you think you've done, or ways that you behaved, or things that, like, tidbits maybe for other women to, like, allow them to have the same kind of results you have, where it isn't an issue as much, or where people move on from it quickly?
I think one of the biggest things is letting your work speak for itself. I mean, just like with the Iron Maven builds and stuff, like, that's, women are capable, and we will show you that we are capable. I kind of enjoy proving people wrong, so it's a little bit of fun. I do think my physicality and the fact that I am innately curious and mechanically inclined does give me a little bit extra favor. But I know plenty of women who have no interest in cars and have engineering degrees and are fully capable with their roles. They're mathematic, they are analytical, they can work their way through problems, and they're puzzle solvers just like me, but theirs doesn't have 4 wheels.
Right.
I know amazing engineers that cross stitch, and unbelievable cross stitch, first off. But
hey, I crochet. I can't judge cross stitchers.
But no, it's the same thing though. Like,
it is.
Like, if you're into crafts, if you're into figuring out space and working through a problem and doing that sort of thing, it doesn't necessarily have to be this, like, oh, I'm going to show you, and like, I'm going to be one of the boys kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do that to be a fully capable, fully invested person. You had a young lady on, was it 2 weeks ago, that does like a bunch of upholstery?
Yes.
And like, that's wicked.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
No, and
that is taking something 2D and bringing it into the 3D space.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I look forward to the day when, like, when it's so not gendered, and when we can look at, like, all of these things are so very similar, right? When I take a ball of yarn and I turn it into fabric, or when I take a piece of metal and I turn it into a fender, like it's still, it doesn't matter, right? Like it's still that same part of your brain. It's still that like, oh, I see a thing and I can make it into this other thing and figure it out and problem solve and puzzle through it.
Yeah. It's creation in its purest form.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no one can create better than women, let's be real. It's in our blood. It's in our genes.
That's a different type of creation, making something like nothing.
Hey, it's still there.
That's very true. Very true. Okay. So do you miss working in the automotive space?
Yeah. I have days where I miss it. And then I have other days like my current role is really phenomenal and I'm treated amazing and I get so many opportunities. But um there are always parts that you're gonna miss, and especially people. I miss some of my friends that I had in that world, and getting to see them every day. Um, but I'm the kind of person where I know opportunities will come, and I just enjoy seeing where life takes me. And I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to be in a certain field just because I love cars doesn't mean I have to be in automotive. I can find outlets and I can do things, and it doesn't, I could not even be an engineer. If I had a different job entirely, I can still find passions and find groups like the amazing women that work on the Girl Gang Garage builds. Like, I love seeing how many people are there and rooting for every single person that's in that world. So, um, and not everyone there does the same thing.
No.
Like, we were talking about some of the ladies that do the body work, and I especially remember you saying they have yoked shoulders and they just go to town on there. But I don't doubt not every one of those women is like, yeah, cars are my everything. But they really love creating shape, or they love doing things. And
Yeah.
I, I think we all miss some things, and especially if it's nostalgic, it's going to be there. But I'm not going to sit here and say, woe is me, when I get to pursue an amazing career and have a great life.
No, it's a wonderful attitude, but I also, there's something really, truly valuable for people to hear in what you were just saying is like this idea that even if you can't do, like right now, it's not because it's a can't, you have another opportunity that's awesome, but for whatever reason, maybe it is a can't, maybe you can't do this thing that you really want to do, or you didn't get an opportunity to pursue. Maybe you wanted to be an engineer, but you weren't able to go to college or go to engineering school. Like, there are still ways that you can find to fulfill those parts of your brain and to fill and find outlets for that creativity, that problem solving, that desire, like whatever it is, you find it in different ways in your life, and to cherish that, even if it's not in the form that maybe you thought it was going to be in.
Yeah. And don't say no to an opportunity before it's fully fleshed out, because you don't know where one step is going to take you. It might be something that's in the middle of another step that's going to give you something super rewarding.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to say yes.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. So in the 10 minutes that we have left, which is not much because this hour went, right? I know.
What?
I know.
Man.
Time flies. Do you have other cool projects that we should be talking about that I don't know about?
I don't know.
You don't know? What?
I don't know what's considered cool.
I mean, if you consider it cool, it's cool.
Oh no. There's a lot going on. We're in the middle of hunting season, so I've been dealing with that whole mess lately. So that's been more time consuming than I anticipated.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. I like doing things around the house and building things. So like, we have some furniture around the house that I've built, and then we the most Midwestern thing I think we have is a fridge in the garage, and we converted it into a kegerator, and so I make taps for the kegerator, so we can have whatever my husband brews. I can make the tap, and we'll 3D print them and paint them and make them a whole thing. I've got a tiny Lambo trophy for Super Bowl. Yeah.
That whole sentence was just such a perfect conversion of like backwoods and modern like technology, right? Like, we have a refrigerator we've turned into a kegerator that I'm 3D print.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have any of them handy, or I'd show you. Or like I used to have a Miata. He was green. His name was Yoshi. He's gone. He's with a loving owner. It's fine. Don't worry.
That's good. That's good.
But
Was it
I made
lifted?
a no. He was stock. I actually I loved. So it was an M edition. It was in that pearly green. I'm not a big green car person. It was gorgeous, and I redid the interior. It was my first time doing upholstery. It was amazing. But yeah, I created a shifter for it that looked like a Yoshi egg, so it had the big green spots on it, and we threw it in the car, and it was actually like really ergonomic, which was nice.
I
But
love it.
it's that playfulness. I love
Yeah.
playing through a design. So yeah, that's what I've been doing lately. I learned that I get to take advantage of my husband's plasma cutter at work. He's got a CNC plasma cutter at work, and
Very nice.
sometimes I just send him with sheet metal and say, "Hey, can you bring it home with you?" And so he's been suckered into doing some work for me,
The,
making brackets and stuff. But
so a lot of
it's
this
fun.
stuff on the car side, on the physical wrenching side, you're pretty self-taught on, correct?
100% self-taught.
Okay. So I'm hearing in my brain, I imagine what people watching might be thinking and listening to is like, how is she doing all of these crazy projects? She's not a mechanic. How are you doing these things? Like, what is your advice to people on getting in there and learning how to do this stuff, learning how to do mechanical stuff, how to wrench, how to CAD design things and make a Yoshi shifter. Like, like, how do we tap into that creative side and the making side of doing things if you don't have that skill set already?
I'd say one thing that everyone should look for is if they have it in their area is a maker space or a fabrication space. So in Bend, we have one called DIY Cave, and they have a series of courses. They have welding, so they'll do MIG welding and TIG welding. They have woodworking classes, jewelry making classes, all these different things. I think one of the biggest tools for me was buying some Haynes manuals and buying crappy cars that I knew were going to break. And then, like, I'm talking like I have a $700 Escort outside. And when I bought it, it was leaking out of everything. So, but it's a great opportunity. I haven't had, oh no, I have done one before, but like things like oil pan gaskets and learning, okay, if I take these bolts out, I can get to it here and I can do that sort of stuff. And just doing. For me personally, I'm a super hands-on learner. Other people, if you're visual, use YouTube. That is a phenomenal resource. But yeah, I
Just do
don't
it. Get
just
out.
do it. Just and don't be afraid to fail. Like if you're worried about failing publicly, you can, buy some little things. I have a airbrush system in my house. I'm not good at it and I'm aware of it, but I can work on it and fail in my own space. Harbor Freight is a great place if you just want to figure out tools and you don't feel like spending thousands and thousands of dollars. But reach out to your community. There's always someone that knows more than you in every factor, and being able to lean on those people, and they want to share their knowledge for the most part. They want to share their knowledge. So that's the best way is, hey, I want to learn about this. I mean, that's how I found out about your guys' shop was like,
Yeah.
where are the women? I want to be around the women. And
They're right
ended up
here. They're all in
found an entire community of them and these amazing happy hours and all that sort of stuff. And it was just like, yes. But, a year ago, I had no idea about any of this. And so
Did that
that's, yeah.
tell me about, we have just a little bit more time, but you had a very like strong reaction when you came out here for the first time, and it was kind of this, well, I'll let you say, like, what was that? You hadn't met a lot of women who do this kind of thing before. Tell me about that experience and why that was important to you and what that meant.
It's one of those things where if you don't see someone who looks like you, it's harder to see yourself in it. And when you come into a space and like walking through your shop and seeing the amazing things that women have had their hands all over in this case, that it's empowering. And it like, I know like they talk about like a glass ceiling being a thing, but you going, oh, I want to do that thing over there, I don't know how, or I don't have people that can show me what to do or anything like that. And suddenly when you walk into those situations and you see people like that and see what's possible, it brings hope, and it opens new channels. It's like unlocking a new level in your favorite video game, and suddenly you have 6 new quests and you can go down any of them and find your story within it.
I love that. Spoken like a true nerd. I absolutely love it. And I say that with the most love.
Oh no, I don't really play them. Like if I'm sick, maybe like I'll like log on, but no.
But it was a great analogy. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Choose your story or whatever those are. Yeah.
Did it ever like hold you back, or was it just an internal thing, or did you not even notice it until you found other women doing this kind of work? Like, was it an issue before? Like, did you feel like you were limited by having not known other women who are like you, who do these crazy?
I wouldn't say limited. I would say lonely. And that was really hard, because there's nothing harder than trying to get through a problem and also feeling like no one's there to kind of have your back, or it's not quite the same, but like I know there's still people that have my back, but if you're properly into a community, it just brings you up, and when you don't have it, you don't have it. And so I think that's a big part of it.
And I appreciate that. You've said that incredibly well. I struggle sometimes trying to explain to people why this is, like, why what we do here matters at Girl Gang, and why the all female builds matter, and like what that is that it brings to people. And it's a tough thing to explain because it's very intangible, right? But that was very well said. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you need to come back and play again.
Yeah, I will. I've already got multiple days of PTO next year blocked off that just say GGG on them. And those are your days. You will get me for that time. I'm already excited. I'm going to, make it count. And book flights in advance. Holy smokes.
Awesome.
Living in a smaller town does not help with the flights.
No, it does not. No, it does not.
I'm going to find a way to make that better so I can definitely get in more and
I love it.
Spend some more time with you guys.
I love it. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for agreeing to hang out with me for happy hour. I know you were a little hesitant at first.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You are amazing. You're inspirational. Your passion and your creativity and your everything just comes through. I don't know if you've seen some of the comments coming through, but a lot of love coming in your direction, and I agree with all of them. You're a phenomenal human being. So I appreciate you hanging out with me.
I appreciate you.
I still have the tool you made me.
Do you really?
Of course. Yeah, Sylvie made me.
Yeah,
what did we call it? I think you named him Fred.
Was it Fred? I just remember it was the suspension alignment plate.
Yes.
But
a thingy. I think officially it was the thingy. It was Fred alignment thingy pointing in this direction. She made this cool little plate that I could set up on the suspension so that I could measure my angles properly and precisely before welding anything into place. So I still have it.
Which is a handful when you're trying to like put your knee in one spot and lift on another.
Right, because the spindle's loose and the control arm's loose and everything's like flopping all over the place.
You're fighting an octopus the whole time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But you made it look easy, so.
Again, the height, it helps.
Yes, indeed. Oh
But
my goodness.
thank you for having me on here.
Thank
I've
you.
really enjoyed this, and it's always nice to see you.
Definitely, definitely. Well,
Yeah.
have a fantastic rest of your night. Everybody who tuned in, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us and spending some part of your Wednesday evening with us. Always love having you guys. All of you who are new here, welcome. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you come back next week. Those of you who have been around before and consistently, thank you so much for consistently coming out and hanging out with me. And again, we've got more great stuff coming up next week. All of the past happy hours you can find in my IGTV tab. I think they're still calling it that. I don't know. Instagram keeps changing their rules, but they are all there. And what else do I have to say? Huge thank you to my sponsor, Drive Time, for helping make all of this happen. But most importantly, thanks to all of you for continuing to be inspiration for me to keep doing this, and for all of the amazing women who have had the opportunity to meet and hang out with. Sylvie, you are absolutely one of them, and I'm so grateful to have this time with you. Everybody, have a fantastic rest of your evening. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another, and have a good night. Bye.
Thanks.